I put my trust in you, and I trust in love. I put my trust in you, I put my trust in love. I put my trust in you, and I trust in love. I put my trust in you, I put my trust in love.
Hello, friends. My name is Dane Miller.
And I'm Niall Spain. And we are your fuck buddies.
We are an award-winning sex and dating advice podcast where we take your sticky, sexy situations and turn them into sexy, sticky situations award-winningly.
Simply put, we're an award-winning podcast that finds questions either online or from our wonderful listeners. We answer them right here in award-winning fashion.
Now, as a recent Canadian Podcast Award winner, I would just like to say it's great to have you here.
It is. And I'm sorry we're gushing a little bit, but this is pretty fucking cool. And I would like to take this opportunity to say thank you very much to everyone who voted for us, everyone who supported us. We're over the moon, and we really appreciate it. It's nice to be recognized, and we don't do it for the recognition, but it's a hell of a bonus.
I do now, though. I've got a taste of it.
Yeah.
I've got a little nibble, and now Daddy needs the juice.
Oh,
Daddy needs
fully ready to sell out right now.
More awards, more recognition, more fame.
Mm-hmm.
I just need it all. I need to bask in it.
100%.
Have you become insufferable as I have?
So I haven't left my house because my ankle is fucked. I don't know if I mentioned this much on the podcast, but I found out today I might have been walking around the last 5 weeks on a broken ankle. So that's fucking great. So
Yes.
no, I have not been. I've been insufferable in other ways. To my partner, maybe.
I mean, you can be insufferable online. You can. In fact, I know
Yeah.
that you can. I know that is an absolute possibility for you.
Me specifically?
No.
No, I don't think. No, not really. Have you?
Oh God, yes. Every chance I get, any time I can make a morsel or a meal out of the morsel,
Mhm.
I will do it. And it's been even worse at work. At work, I wouldn't want to work with me anymore.
Yeah.
Except I
Oh,
would,
should we-
because why
should we
wouldn't you want to work with someone who's a Canadian podcast winning?
You're close. I think we should get to this award-winning advice, don't you?
I agree.
Let's go. What are you feeling? We softball it so we seem real smart?
Yeah. For the new listeners, let's make it seem like we're real good. Because, hey, we are really good.
This is my throwaway last name, too. Would I be wrong to ask my wife to play a Stepford wife for a business dinner? Okay, the wife, 36-year-old female, and I, 36-year-old male, are going to dinner with my bosses and their wives at a fancy restaurant in the city. During this dinner, business and personal lines will blur, and I want to make sure we won't ruffle any feathers in upper management. I met my wife 9 years ago, and she is currently pregnant with our first child. Pregnancy has been rough in our relationship, but that's a different story. She has breezed through the pregnancy physically and still maintains a normal routine at 8 months. When I met her, she was fiery, would always fight for what is right and point out wrongs no matter what it meant for her personally. We've lost friends over the years because she's made a stand against something she thought was wrong and not back down. It is one of the reasons I love her and would never want her to change. Last week, she was standing behind me and noticed on my emails we'd been invited to a restaurant dinner with my company's upper management. She indicated she wanted to go and is excited that this would be the first time she would go to a formal dinner with the managers at my company. Note, she has met a few coworkers at mingle events and Christmas parties. Now, the problem is, our managers are old, misogynistic, rude, crass, and blunt. For example, our CEO believes that men are better at engineering than women, and when I first arrived at the company, it was all men except admin positions. So over the last 2 years, I've slowly been changing the company culture from within, making more diverse hiring decisions and starting internal programs. One change I made was traineeships were only sourced from a private boys' school, CEO's old school, and now we source from a public school down the road. Women in engineering is one of my passion projects. I could have walked away from the job, but I took it to make a positive impact. Management won't accept a full 180 straight away, but incremental small changes are flying under the radar. I see it as a game that needs to be played subtly, not to rock the boat too much. I often talk to my wife about my job, and we talk endlessly about making a better workplace, and it is slowly getting there. My wife's the opposite of me, and I know when she gets to the room with these managers, she won't take any shit from them and will point out their behavior, will behave unacceptably in their eyes and upset them. She shouldn't have to take that or be subjected to it, but I don't need to rock the boat and jeopardize not only our income stream, but also the positive changes I can and have made at the company. I want to sit her down and ask her to basically play a Stepford wife, which is everything she does not stand for. I can't say I'm going to enjoy it either. I'm also going to offer her the chance to pull out as well, and we can just say the pregnancy on the day is causing some nausea or something. It's a hard conversation to have, so I'm asking her to bottle up her core beliefs and personality. Any advice on how to start this conversation as well as how to phrase it? I don't want to lie and say we can't make it, as this issue is going to come up again as I move into upper management.
Okay. I understand. So I think immediately your approach is bad in terms of asking her to play a Stepford wife, because what you're asking her to do is swallow her core beliefs, as you said, and play a part, which doesn't seem like you even want either, right? Like it seems antithesis to what your end goal is. So I think that play is a bad one, and I think putting that on the table is going to end in a fight, and I think rightfully so. I think asking your wife or any woman to be a docile, demure, better seen, not heard situation, 50s housewife, I think is an insulting thing to do. I think it is a shitty thing to do, especially to a woman that you love, but any woman, really. Like, telling them to be, revert 70, 80 years in progressive culture to appease the old bosses at your work sucks, and you shouldn't do it. However, you mention that you guys talk about how you are slowly making things change, and I assume she's not a stupid woman. I assume that she understands that you can't kick in a door and be like, hey, old people, I'm changing this for the better, and put sunglasses on, like, skateboard through the halls.
It's actually wheelies. Heelys? Fuck.
Heelys.
Doing wheelies on Heelys.
You know what I mean? Like, I think I would hope that she understands that is not the way the world works, even though it would be great if we could walk into misogynistically run companies and companies that have archaic hiring practices. I wish we could smash our way in and just be like, this is done. Here's how we're doing it. It's over. We're back into the modern era now. Fuck you guys.
Mm-hmm. I wish we honestly could smash in more doors with a skateboard and sunglasses, and especially if we're yelling at old misogynistic fucks.
Exactly. Like, I'm on board with her ideal, but hopefully, like I said, I can't imagine that she believes that is the way things are done, especially if you are talking regularly about the way that you're currently doing it. So I think having a conversation of being like, look, we need to tiptoe and make it a we thing, because you're doing the same thing.
That's what I think is a really good thing that you've pointed out already, is like, it's not that she has to do this. You're doing it too. You know what I mean? It's not like, oh, I'm on board, but you have to pretend. It's like, you're also doing that, and she knows, and you guys are already on the same team and have discussed this. So it's like, you could be like, oh man, I am not looking forward to this dinner. You know what I mean? These guys, maybe there are good parts to them, but in general, they kind of suck. And you could be like, it's hard enough having to put up with their bullshit when it's business and it's work. But I'm worried that with everyone's wives there and shit, they'll be shitty. And how do you feel about going? Because you don't have to. Again, maybe she doesn't want to be in that position. And talk about that way, where you guys are a team and you're also on her side and also having to put this, muzzle on, or whatever the way you want to fucking say, where it's not her. Because if you're just being you have to change, that's kind of shitty. Whereas we are in this situation together and it sucks is, one, true, and two, I think a lot more palatable.
And also, you make a good point of this dude is doing this on a daily basis, right? He understands that the practices are bad, but I'm sure he's not going right to their face and being like, hey, your hiring practices suck, because again, that wouldn't institute change. So he's doing, he is keeping his mouth shut, or at least biting his tongue on probably more than one occasion every day to actually institute change. So yeah, I think you need to sit down and have a conversation and be like, look, this is a game that I've been playing for a very long time, and it's a passion project of mine, and it is something that really means a lot to me, the way that I know that it means a lot for you. And it is a dance, and it's a dance that sucks, and it's a dance that sometimes I have to bite my tongue. So you might think that I am being complicit in their behavior. I want to assure you that I'm not, and that if I spoke out against it, or if I actively pushed back against it, I would not be able to do the things that I'm doing, and I would not have been able to achieve the things that I've achieved. So in order for me to continue making forward strides, I do have to play the game a little bit. And I do have to do the dance.
Yeah, I also think there's no harm in maybe coming up with a safe word almost, because it's also really shitty to have this conversation and be like, okay, you can't really rock the boat. You can't be offended by these shitty things. But it's what if somebody says something that pushes crosses the line, right? Mm-hmm. I think having a safe word or a code word or something so that they can either, talk to you in a separate room or leave, or have you stand up, you know what I mean? Because you don't want to leave them in this awkward position where if something actually really does bother them that they feel like they're not allowed to express that. So I think having a safe word, even if it's just like, I'm out of here, like this is too much, you can, leave, say the pregnancy is whatever, or you can both go or whatever. But it does help you, one, like not get into any mix-ups if anything does go wrong, and two, kind of reinforce the fact that you guys are on a team. It's you against them.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. And also you have a great out with the fact that she is 8 months pregnant. That's a lot. That's like you're almost there. So even if it's something as simple as like, oh, I need to stretch my legs, something as simple as that, or like, ooh, my back's acting up, something. And that way she has a reason to like get out of there. And then like you can wait 30 seconds and be like, I'm just going to go make sure she's okay. And there you go. Now,
she's going to head outside. I'm going to go with her. You know what I mean? Easy. Boom.
Yeah.
And the thing is, you mentioned that like this will become more of an issue as you move into upper management. So it's like, yeah, this is important to get right now, or at least to begin to delve into now. Because if it's just going to be a every month thing, like you really need to get that handled. But yeah, like be honest. Don't just be like, hey, you need to behave on this dinner. You're married. You've been married for a long time. You should be able to talk to each other realistically and properly. You're about to have a fucking kid. Have a conversation. I'm sure they'll understand.
Because like, look, what you're saying is correct. You being like, oh, I need a Stepford wife tonight. You're not wrong, but the implications are so much different than if you sit her down and have the conversation about being like, hey, we got to play a part tonight, both of us. You're going to see my work persona. It's not the real me, but it's the me that I need to be in order to achieve what real me wants.
Yeah.
And like I said, hopefully she understands that, and hopefully she's not so headstrong that can't see that nuance is usually the way to victory in these kind of situations. That like, I remember going to like a vegan food festival, and there was a guy just running up to people and being like, do you kill animals? Are you an animal killer? I'm like, one, wild place to do this at a vegan food festival, but also like this tactic isn't going to change anything. Like anyone who is a meat eater, like to put people on the defensive right off the bat is not the way to like change people's minds. The same way that
people's backs up.
Yeah, the same way that like busting into an office, presumably being much younger than the people running it, and telling them that everything they know and all their core fundamental beliefs are wrong. No one's going to respond well to that.
When you're healing around, right?
And especially when you're an old white man.
Yeah. You guys should be able to have this talk. And that's the thing. Like, this isn't even just practice for business and for whatever. It's practice for having a kid, because you need to be able to talk to each other. Honestly, you're on the same fucking team now more than ever. So be honest, be genuine, be kind, and don't downplay your role in this situation, which is that you're going to be doing the same thing. And good luck.
I think you got this. This is from Reddit user Siam. How do I tell my partner that I wish he would approach sex differently? I'm confused if this is a fundamental problem or if this is something that we can manage. Here it comes. My problem when it comes to our sex is that he's seemingly constantly horny. So as soon as we are both by ourselves, he will, within 15 minutes, approach me for sex. He has a very high libido, and I never questioned my libido before, but now I can't keep up with his pace. In most cases, I just wish we wouldn't end up sleeping with each other right away after we get home or so. I require a bit more time to get in the mood. With other partners, before I initiated sex, there comes a moment when I crave it, but with him, I never really get to that stage. Now I'm wondering how I can talk to him about this. It's a very sensitive issue for him, so I want to let him know that what I need for more pleasurable sex without hurting his feelings or making him think too much about the process, when he should just enjoy it and not actually overthink his doings.
It's so upsetting to me that someone's like, oh, I'm not enjoying this, and I'm worried that like, oh, it's so shitty of me to mention it in case he gets in his own head and doesn't enjoy it. Like, obviously you're a good, kind person that's putting other people's needs before yourself, but like, it's heartbreaking. Don't do that. You can definitely, like, this is an issue people have. Libido mismatches are definitely a thing. We've had them on here before. And you can just address that and just be like, tell them when you're in the mood, tell them when you're not in the mood. Or when, which also seems to be an issue here, if they're not giving you sufficient foreplay or attention, tell them that. You need to be able to have these conversations. And with these conversations come boundaries. If you are not in the mood to have sex, that's that. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter that they're horny. They have a hand. It doesn't matter that it's the first time you guys got together that day or whatever. Like, you have the ability to not have sex all the time, constantly, whenever you want, and you shouldn't feel guilty about that.
Yeah, and from what I gather from the question, it doesn't sound like it's the fact that he wants a lot of sex. I think it's more that, like, the second they get home, he's like, okay, it's sex times now, which
Mhm.
As you said, it's like you just have to tell them, be like, hey, I need a bit more time to get going. And I'm not a big fan of like the second I get home that it's sex time because you want to have sex. I need time to like settle in and like maybe have a shower or take my clothes or change into something more comfortable or kind of like process
Have a
the
glass of
day.
water.
Yeah, whatever it might be. It's like I need some time to relax. And
Mhm.
there are also times where like I don't want to have sex just because we are now home and alone together.
It's hard for me to tell whether that is like whether it's the speed at which they have sex or it's the fact that he doesn't seem to be doing enough foreplay and stuff,
Mhm.
which also seems like it's the problem. Or is it both? Either way, I think all of it is communication.
Yeah.
If you're lacking something, you need to communicate that that's what you need. And like, if your partner's going to get upset and self-conscious and not enjoy sex as a result of that, like, you probably shouldn't be having sex with that person.
Well, that's what I was going to say. I was like, if a good way of knowing, because like I think the real question is this a fundamental problem or is this something that we can manage? And you find that out. It's like by having the conversation and setting the boundary and being like, hey, I would like to, I need to pump the brakes. Like, I don't want to have sex the second we get in. And I don't know if I want to have sex at all every time we get in. So let's just relax. And when we do have sex, I want to take it a little slower. I want to have a bit more time for me to get into the mood, a bit more time, whether it's more foreplay or, you know, making out or just snuggling on the couch and watching a TV show or a movie first. And then, you know, with the lights are off and when the screen has gone black after the movie or the show, things get a little hot and heavy. But it's like, I want to feel inclined and I need that. And then you need to see how they react and how they process that. Because what I can see happening is you tell them, oh, I don't want to have sex right when I get in. And then it's like a caged animal sitting there looking at their watch and being like, okay, it's been an hour. Is that long enough? And then being like, you know what I mean? If they seem super anxious.
Which was going to turn that entire hour into not rest and not focusing in on yourself or calming down or getting comfortable, it's just going to make when they do pounce the exact same as coming in the door.
Exactly. So I think that is how you find out whether this is manageable or not. Because if you have that conversation and they fucking reel it in and hold back, because as Niall said, mismatched libidos don't give you, just because you're like, oh, I have a high libido, therefore I need sex all the time. It's like, no, you want sex all the time. You don't need it. You also don't are guaranteed it or deserve it or any of that shit. So you need to see how he takes this note. And like I said, I feel like, you know, everyone feels that tension. You know what I mean? Like when you're on a couch, like, you know, that first date when you've gone back to your place and you haven't like kissed yet. And there's that like tension of like, how long do we have a little small talk or like chat on the couch? Like how much further can I scooch closer casually?
That's like a delicious tension.
But it's good. Yes, it's really good. But it's not when like, you know, the person and all they want is like like I said, just looking at the clock, you know what I mean? Like if that's how you're trying to unwind and you're just like, oh, this guy's literally just like has come up with a time like an hour or an hour and 15 minutes or has decided that at like 7 o'clock he's going to make his move. And you can tell that like that's just what he's waiting for and he's distracted and not really engaging with you because he's just counting down the seconds till 7 o'clock. I don't think this is a manageable thing.
If you do reach if he's chill about this, I would recommend being the one to approach then when you do feel like, especially if you feel all after you have the conversation, there is that space because like it is shitty to always be the one approaching if that is the case here.
For sure.
And like if he's then in this gray area and doesn't really know what to do and you're not stepping up and also kind of like igniting things, that's going to be really shitty for him because he's going to be in a like, will I, won't I, like it shouldn't all be in his hands, which might not be the case. In this case, I don't think it seems like you don't even get the choice to have it in your hands. So hopefully that's not the case. I just want to make sure that is also covered.
That's what she said with other partners before I initiated sex because there comes a moment where I crave it. But like you said, it's like
I'm just saying in this case, when they do, I just want to make sure that's still covered. And it's even just for the people who might have a similar, you know, situation. This is by Substantial Ad. 7269. Fiance and I never had a courtship stage because we immediately hit it off and sort of jumped straight to it's like we've known each other a lifetime territory. I'm feeling like we need to get that spark of newness back, but it's like we never really had new. So I don't know what to even ask for. I, 28-year-old female, and fiance, 29-year-old male, have been together for 4 years, and it's been one of those relationships where we met, immediately hit it off, and just sort of fell into being attached to the hip and already acting like we'd been married, old couple for ages. All of this is a good thing because it's a byproduct of how compatible we are, how inherently safe and comfortable we felt with each other right off the bat. The fact that we did not have to chase one another or worry about the game of conquest was initially very nice because we both came from past relationships where all we ever did was chase after people who didn't want to be caught. It was very refreshing at first just fall into place with someone who was ready to be together without the games or the pretense of wooing someone and earning their affection. But after 4 years, I feel like I'm feeling restless, and there's a small part of me that needs something which I'm not getting. After much soul searching, I figured out that though I love my fiance to bits, there's a certain kind of understimulation, I guess. I don't think boredom is the right word because I don't like the connotations associated with that in the relationship context, but I don't know. I definitely just feel like I find myself waiting for a spark that maybe we never had in a way. Don't get me wrong, there's definitely a sort of spark between us when we met. It was like the spark of reuniting with a loved one you hadn't seen in a long while, rather than the spark of meeting someone and slowly developing a crush, wondering if the feeling is mutual, feeling the need to put your best foot forward to pursue them and hopefully win them over. There was never any of the spark you get from the thrill of the chase. I feel like I'm just missing that for some reason. I just feel like I want to be wooed and courted. A part of me misses being single. Not because I want anyone other than him, because I miss the feeling of being really seen by someone for the first time. The tension, build-up, and polarity of being pursued and courted by someone who still feels like they need to try to win you over. I miss the game of seducing someone and being seduced. I miss the feeling of being surprised by someone making meaningful gesture to declare their affections. I love the safety of certainty and knowing we have each other without having to try, but at the same time miss the excitement of not knowing and feeling that desire to win each other over and every day. I know after a while this is a feeling a lot of people get in long-term relationships, so I at least know I am not alone or crazy for feeling the way I do. The issue is, where people usually say you need to keep doing the things you did initially to win each other, we never had to do anything to win each other. Lol. We just met and immediately fell into hanging out every day, saying I loved you, and moved in very fast. And now here we are 4 years later. I want to talk to him and bring these concerns up. I want to bring that spark of courtship into our relationship, but I don't even know what to ask for. I don't know what will give me the sensations of craving, seeing as, again, we never really had to chase one another. I've been trying on my end to make concerted efforts to look my best, suggest we go on dates more often and things, but often he won't even notice that I look nice, or at least doesn't say anything until I'm already sour and pouting because he didn't notice I dressed up, lol. Or if we do go out, he'll whip out his phone and just sit there not paying attention to me until I complain. I feel like we fell into this comfortable complacency with one another, and I want to dig our way out. Don't know how to do it, don't know how to bring it up to him, but I want him to make an effort too. Just haven't really told him any of this so explicitly yet because I don't know what to say or ask for.
Okay. You are in the 4-year danger zone.
The 4-year slump.
Yeah. And I think it's pretty common around 4 years. I find that that is the mark that couples start to feel the burden of comfort and the burden of not complacency, but the fact that you no longer have to work for it, and that you start to take liberties in the effort that you put in, and not in this sounds negative, but it's not negative. It's at a certain point in time when you're with someone that you really care about and you feel safe with and you're comfortable with, you can relax a lot of stuff, right? You feel like you might not need to do a lot of things. Whether that's true or not, it is one of the most common things that happens, and I find that usually it's that 4-year mark. I feel like most solid long-term relationships crumble at 4 years, or people get over it and then they're fine. And I think a lot of it does have to come from the fact that that's kind of around the time that you're my person, and therefore I don't need to try that hard anymore. And again, don't mean that in a bad way. I just mean it in a sense of being you're mine. And I'm not. It's not at the forefront of my mind. We can focus on other things, usually personal things.
So there's a few things here. I'm just going to point out some red flags for me. They seem to mention chasing and talking about I think a lot of terminology where the bad stuff, the mind games and the chasing and the pursuit, and they mentioned that they had previous partners that weren't great. And I think they think that getting together involves that to a certain degree. And I think that's not a good thing. 2, dressing up all nice and expecting your partner to comment on it, but then pouting and being sour when they don't. That's not great. I don't love that. And the thing is, I'm very worried that this is we rely on each other way too much.
Codependent?
That's the one. Award-winning. Yeah, it's a codependency problem. Where it's they met each other. They were immediately attached at the hip, and they moved in together really quickly. It's cool. These are all things you probably did way too quickly. And it's it doesn't really sound like there's much in the way of anybody else in your lives. You know what I mean? Again, maybe that's me reading into it, but it's like if your entire life, day in, day out, is your partner all the time, attached to the hip, like this married old couple, it's possible you guys are way too codependent. And like time apart from your fiance or partner or whoever also kind of lends its own spice just by that, like that easily.
Absence makes the heart grow fonder.
Absence makes the heart grow fonder. So it's like various things. Like, don't play silly games of like just trying to dress up and hope that something is going to change. It's like he thinks you're hot all the time. You look hot another time. It's like that's not going to fix anything. And being sour and pouting because he doesn't follow the script you've written in your head is just going to cause more problems. That's shitty. 2, you talk about never feeling new and whatever. Do new things together. Do fresh things. You don't have to do the things that you did when you met each other, because at this point, they're presumably not even new anymore. When I met my partner, we went on adventure dates. Like, we went fucking flying trapeze. We went on bar crawl, blah, blah, blah. It's like, we still do shit like that. So it's like, going back to the things we did when we met each other doesn't make any sense because that's what we do every day. Whereas if we were to go take a dance class or do a pottery class, that would be new. That would be exciting. That would inject something fresh into our relationship. So the fear that because you didn't have a courtship stage, you can't do this is wild to me, because I think for most people, you probably keep those things going anyway. And secondly, newness is what you need. So just do something new.
Yeah. And I understand not bringing this up right away because you are kind of like in that thing of being like, what is it that I need? I don't know what I want. And that's fine. But you do need to nail it down, because expecting it to happen without knowing what you want is sort of like going to a restaurant and be like, you choose. Yeah. And then being like, okay, like chances are you'll get something that's not bad, but is it what you want? Is it what you need? Like, probably not.
I used to work in a bar with a shit ton of beers, and they would come in and be like, oh, just will you pick for me? And I'm like, cool, I would love to pick, but I'm going to need to ask you some questions first. They're like, no, just get me whatever you think. And I'm like, cool. But like, and then I'll be like, oh, do you like coffee? And they're like, no, too bitter. I don't like dark stuff. I'm like, cool, great. That, like, I could have brought you a fucking coffee stout. You would have hated that. This is why I ask you questions. Still gonna be a surprise to you, but I do need some kind of fucking guiding light here. And it's like, I think that, especially if you want, you said you want them to put in effort, I think you need to definitely nail down that. Because coming up to someone being like, I want you to do more. It's like, cool, do more what? I don't know. That's not great.
I don't think there's any harm in, like, I know this is going to be terrifying for a traditional couple or a couple that, or people who have very traditional senses of like how a relationship should be. But I think there's no harm in sitting down and being like, hey, I'm starting to feel a bit restless. And I feel like we're getting complacent. And I feel like we're taking it a little too easy with how we treat one another. And I want to find a way together on how to change that. Because I don't want to be the couple that we're good, we're great, but everyone kind of looks at it and is just like, oh, it's them. And we're on our phones together. Or we go to the same bar on the same day of the week every week. Like Wednesday is McFlanagan's night, where we go and we both have the same wings and we watch the same sports team and we have the same flavor. And I don't think there's any problem with being like, I kind of want to break our routine a little bit. What would you like to do that? As Niall said, like, do new things. If there's something he wants to do, if there's a hobby that he would like to pursue, maybe you guys take a fencing class together. I was like, great, okay. Now you have something that's like, you get to look forward together. And like, now you have a sexy fencing outfit as well that maybe you guys get to like fool around in.
Sexy fencing outfit? Does that exist?
Have you seen?
I guess they're kind of bodysuits, yeah.
Yeah.
I would say to maybe not mention other people. I don't want to be the couple other people look at. I would say maybe don't mention that, because I think that's a different issue. And I think it's what you care about as opposed to how you appear to others. Like, fuck what they think. I will also say, if you bring this up to your partner and they don't feel the same way, it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Like, you don't both need to feel it. The fact that you feel it should be enough. And they should hopefully care about how you feel and hopefully want to help you and help the relationship.
Yeah, the conversation needs to be diagnostic in nature, of being like, here's how I feel. How do you feel? Okay, now that I know how you feel and you know how I feel, let's figure out what we need to do to help my end of things. Because, like, at the end of the day, if they're like, oh, you need something, but I don't, and then don't do anything to help with your end of the things or your needs, then it's like, that's not a good partner.
No. Try to make sure when you say this, like, you express that it isn't their fault, or that, like, you know, you don't come on combative, because again, this thing happens. It's pretty standard, and it's like, if they get all upset, you can be like, look, we all know this happens to relationships. I just want to make sure we stay strong, and I just want to spice things up a bit, have more fun with you. And I also think it's a very simple rule to just be like, can we not be on phones when we're on a date? Like, that's a very actionable, very simple thing. And I get it.
Yeah.
It sucks if you're trying to do something and they're just like tapping away.
Even with the mention of like the dressing up thing, being like, I want to put in a little bit more effort in my physical appearance for you. Would you mind noticing that? So that, like, on the days where she does get all dolled up, it's so easy to be like, damn, you look great.
Mm-hmm.
And if that's
I
the
think
difference between you pouting and you feeling seen in the relationship, you know, words of affirmation is a love language, and it is a very valid one. It is one that I really, really appreciate. As a dude, I don't get a whole lot of compliments. So when I'm with someone who pays me compliments, even really, really subtle ones of being like, you look great in that shirt, that fills my tank up for like the week, you know?
Mhm.
So if it's
Yeah.
something as simple as that, just being like, I'm going to put a lot more effort into it. And it could be, as Niall said, he might, like, when we find someone attractive, or at least when I find someone attractive, it doesn't matter if you're got no makeup, in your sweats, and messy hair that you haven't washed for a couple days. You look just as fucking hot and sexy in that scenario than when you're in like your favorite dress and your makeup is all done and you're fresh and you're clean and you've like dolled yourself up. Like, for me, there isn't really a big spectrum of like, oh, you're okay then, but I tolerate this look because I know how hot you can get. Like,
for sure.
I'm attracted to the whole spectrum of looks. So it's difficult for some people to be like, oh, you look great because you always look great.
Yeah. And also, like, if one day you kind of put on a little bit more makeup and wore something else, like, maybe he doesn't want to only say, oh, you look great then, for fear that he would imply that you don't when you're not wearing the makeup. You know what I mean? I don't know. Either way, it's like, I think it's fully okay to be like, look, you know, like last week I wore like my really nice clothes. I like did myself up for you, and you know, it bummed me out because you didn't seem to notice. I think that's totally fine. Pouting and being sour because they didn't notice is shit.
Yes. Doing it silently with no communication is not the answer. Like,
Exactly.
doing something and then expecting something and not getting it without communicating that that's what you want or need is not the way forward.
Yes. So by all means, have that conversation. But I think, look, do new things together. Have this chat with each other. Like, try to figure out plans together. But also, and I think it's equally as important, try to do things without each other. If you don't have a fulfilling social life, if you don't have time apart that you were both happy with, I don't think these things are going to really have that much of an impact. I think they'll be better. But I think to have like the full like spectrum of kind of like health in this relationship, you need new things together, you need time apart, you need to communicate, and you need to work this out together.
And hey, let me tell you, I suggest this to like everyone because it is something that I find really fun. Go to a bar and pretend like you don't know each other. And I know that that's a big step. I know, like, that's a whole role play thing that some people aren't into. But if you're missing that seduction side of things, if you want to feel like you can seduce your partner still, it's a great way to do it.
All right. You got one for me?
This is from Unique Rain. Bunch of numbers. Is it cheating if the rules are broken in an open relationship? My girlfriend has almost substituted me sexually with others. Me and my girlfriend are together for 3 years, but our open relationship has complicated things more. Me and my girlfriend are together for almost 3 years. We started up as friends who were banging once in a while. We are both sexually active and we like to explore. Me, a 25-year-old male bisexual, and her, 24-year-old straight female. After a year of knowing each other, we moved in together because we decided to both live abroad in the same country. Our sexual interactions became more frequent, and we ended up being together. We were always confident in talking about our sexual partners, so it became natural for her to propose an open relationship. I was also okay with it, and we set up some rules. 1, always give notice before having sex with someone. 2, never people from our circle. 3, always condom. 4, no threesomes, etc. I knew she would have more partners than me because there were days I was only thinking about her. So, after a while, the rules were pretty much broken. The truth is that her partners were way more than mine, and I frequently entered the house with men having sex with her. We even had some specific people in our circles, friend and 2 neighbors, who were one of her almost weekly partners. I actually didn't mind so much about the rules broken because I could do the same. However, I'm starting to have second thoughts, especially with me starting to know people who started to become more frequent in our life. Does that count as cheating, or am I getting jealous? The thing is, I love her too much to break up. I'm the kind of guy that takes off her shoes when she comes home and kisses her feet, treats her well. I know she knows I depend on her, but I can't see myself letting her go.
I think it's a pretty simple answer in that it is. Because, like, I know we have this unwritten law that we all know what a standard relationship is, but in reality, what it is two people getting together and agreeing a few rules, and if you break those rules, you're cheating. So, like, I don't see why modifying your relationship in very specific ways, but then throwing those out is anything else other than that.
And I would say, honestly, I would say that determining what's cheating in an open relationship where you like actively like declare rules is easier than like, you know, as in a monogamous, like quote unquote traditional relationship, we consider it as having sex with someone else that you're not in a monogamous relationship. And that's like our big rule of cheating. But then we get into things like emotional cheating. And is it cheating to send nudes? Is it cheating to receive nudes? Is it cheating to, you know, tell another person that you love them? Like all those like gray areas. But if you have a open relationship and you say, hey, one of our rules is don't sleep with people in our friend group, and then you go and sleep with people in your friend group, that is a clear breaking of a rule that like is clearly defined. Yeah, it's not like, oh, I didn't cheat on you. Like I never fucked them. I never kissed them. We just sent nudes back and forth. It's not cheating.
Because the thing is, like being in an open relationship doesn't mean, well, that's it. I can do whatever the fuck I want. It's like, oh, but you had the rules. Yeah, I broke the rules though. It's not cheating. Okay, so what is it? It's not just like the Wild West. Doesn't mean you can literally just do whatever the fuck you want. You come up with those rules for a reason, and those rules are to protect you, your partner, everyone's feelings. And it's like, if you just throw them to the wayside, like, what's the fucking point?
Yeah, 100%.
So
like, if
I would say
if you have rules and you make rules, you keep them. And if you don't keep them, then you have to reevaluate and be like, hey, why did you break those rules?
Yeah.
And like, what is the value you place on breaking these rules? Because if you don't care about them, then I can, like, it should in turn sort of start to reflect and be like, cool, you don't care about us or me.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, it's like you're untrustworthy if you make these rules, agree to them, and then wantonly break them.
Yeah.
You know?
And as we say, if you can't trust your partner, you should be with them.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think 100% it is.
I would agree. Now, you say, like, I do want to talk about, like, because he does also say, like, oh, I worship her feet and, like, you know, blah, blah, blah. I couldn't pause. I don't like to say this a lot, but it does sound like you need to get a backbone. And it does sound like you need to stand up for yourself. And I'm not saying don't take her shoes off and don't treat her like a princess. And, you know, like, do whatever you do. I don't care about the dynamics of your relationship or how you wish to honor your partner, but you do need to stand up for your dignity. So if she's breaking rules, you need to say, hey, you've broken a rule and we need to rectify this. Either you stop doing it, and I also would like an apology for it. And if you're going to keep doing it, like, this isn't a relationship anymore. Yeah. Right? Like now you're just the guy who lives with her.
Yeah, you're just fucking roommates.
Yeah.
Who, even then, it's like, if I have rules with my roommate and they're like, yeah, fuck it though, that's not even a good roommate.
I mean, I can't believe that you're still like, oh, I love her so much after walking in on her fucking dudes, like your neighbor. And again, I'm not saying that to like slut shame her, or I'm not saying it to say like, oh, I couldn't imagine, like I couldn't see my partner with another man. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that she's like pretty much breaking every rule all at once in front of you. And there didn't seem to be any repercussions, and you didn't seem to be upset by it. It didn't like, what happened? Were you just like, oops, and then close the door? Like,
well, I will say the other thing that fucking pinged for me, which I think is probably, it's related powerfully somehow, is when they were like, well, that means I could break them too. It's like, oh God, that's not the way forward, because either you don't agree with the rules and they don't agree with the rules, in which case just go, hey, you know what? We don't need these rules, and then establish new rules. And hey, it's not cheating then because you both agree, if that's how you actually feel. Because otherwise it's revenge and it's pettiness and it's like, well, if you did it, and that's just poison for everyone involved. So it's like, look, you could change rules, right? Again, I still think it's a shitty way to change rules by breaking them and not apologizing and not bringing it up and having the other person come forward and be like, actually, I don't mind. That's not the way to do it. But
no, it's like doing renovations and being like, taking a sledgehammer to a wall and being like, a little kitchen island would be nice here.
Yeah, that's like, you don't fuck with people's feelings like that, because that's awful. If you're too cowardly to actually have the conversation to modify the rules that you want to modify, I think you're too cowardly to be in a relationship, especially an
open or
open one that
otherwise.
requires a lot more, I think, in terms of communication and maturity.
Yeah.
So don't be the person that's like, well, you broke the rules, so now I get to. Because again, if you're happy with them, redetermine the rules. If you're not happy with them, you're being cheated on, and revenge isn't the way to go.
Yeah. And it's like, yes.
All right. You want a quick one before Tindies?
Yes, please.
I'm going to not read the title, but this is
Okay.
by Expert Skirt 789. I met my boyfriend during freshman year of college. We've been together for 2 years. Yesterday, an acquaintance of mine said she saw him talking to another girl at a party and they left together. I confronted him about it, and he admitted they went to her dorm room, but wouldn't say anything else. I kept probing him, and eventually admitted that she gave him a blowjob, but nothing else happened. I was furious and almost in tears, so I tried to leave, but he stopped me and said it didn't count as cheating, because he was just using her mouth to masturbate, and that wasn't different from using a fleshlight. I told him we were done and left. Now he's been texting me all day to say he's sorry, and he didn't know I considered blowjobs to be cheating. In my mind, it's 100% cheating, but he seems confused as to my reaction. It's not like I never gave him blowjobs. Can't understand why he did this. He said he still wants to talk to me to work things out, but I don't think I can trust him again. I'm still angry and hurt, and it hurts even more that he thought I'd be okay with this. Should I even bother meeting with him, or should I just finalize the breakup by text? Our relationship has been wonderful up until this happened. I'm really unsure of what to do.
Absolutely break up with this guy. It wasn't a blowjob, babe. I was masturbating with her face.
Yeah, like, what
What?
the fuck? One, super disrespectful to the woman that he fucking got a blowjob from. So it's like,
Yes.
Even if you want to ignore his batshit awful logic, it's like, cool, this guy's just proven that he's a bit of a dick. And by bit
Not
of,
a bit of a dick.
I know.
The fact that he's saying, "Oh, this actual human being
I
was
know,
nothing more than a fucking object."
I'm being
like-
coy, like, oh, he's a bitch shit. Like, he's very. I
Yes,
was also in the process of saying. And also, we can all agree getting a blowjob off someone is fucking cheating.
Yeah, because like,
Unless
look,
unless you specifically have a rule where that's allowed. As per our last question, rules are important.
yeah, because like, what's to say that's like, oh, babe, I didn't have sex with her. I was just using her vagina as a masturbation tool. It's like a fleshlight. Literally, that's what a fleshlight is. It's just attached to a person this time. Babe, it's not cheating.
If it's not cheating and it's nothing wrong, why did he lie about it and had to be pressed and interrogated until he got there?
And be like,
You know?
yeah, maybe just be like, oh, okay, well, I'm really glad to hear that because I've been blowing people all over campus. Like, would he be cool with that? Something tells me, nope.
Yeah, no, just fuck this guy. Like, he's trying to be a little smarmy shithead and like back his way out with like just idiocy and desperation and confidence, and it's just embarrassing. And you shouldn't even just don't give him anything. Done.
It's like when someone has to write the essay question at the end of an exam and they have no idea
Mhm.
any, like, they haven't done any of the homework, doesn't understand the question, doesn't know the source material, and they're just writing things.
Yeah, they
They're
thought
just saying things.
they looked at the question about Moby Dick and thought they were in a biology exam.
Or a music exam and just wrote about Moby.
I'd be there for that. Yeah, no, fuck this guy. This guy's a fucking asshole. He's trying to play you for a fucking fool. Don't let him.
No. The second anyone says, I didn't know that was cheating, I feel like 9 times out of 10, they probably knew it was cheating.
Oh yeah, like there's like, I know we mentioned that like it's not as cut and dry necessarily as if you have an open relationship and you do lay down some concrete rules, but like on the flip side, you could probably find 98% of the world that would instantly agree with you.
And I think it's a pretty safe guess that if your genitals are on or inside another person, it's
Mhm.
probably cheating.
Probably.
Probably.
Tindy time.
Tindy time. At the end of the episode, we like to hop onto online dating platforms such as Tinder, Bumble, Hinge. In an effort to make your online dating experience a little more enjoyable, we scan through them, look for red flags, see what works and what doesn't work.
This is nameless. They're a 25-year-old female. I keep rats, snakes, and tarantulas, and I have a black cat. I may just be one of the witches from Hocus Pocus. Who knows? Maybe I'll cast a spell on you. Wink. Let me buy you coffee. I know the best place in blank. Pro-choice, LGBTQ plus friendly, Black Lives Matter, trans rights are human rights, kiss face.
Okay. I love all that.
Yeah.
That is on brand with all the things I like. She's spooky, ally,
Mhm.
like promoting
Positive.
trans rights. Yeah,
Funny.
there was no like, I don't like this.
No, cute as well. Like, who knows? Maybe I'll cast a spell on you. Love it. Hocus Pocus, great reference. Let me buy you coffee. Super positive, super unique as well. I know the best place in blank. Great. Fuck yeah. Someone wants to take me to their favorite coffee shop? I'm here for it. I'm giving it a 9. It's probably 9.5.
I'm just gonna go flat 10. I think this
Okay.
is a profile that does exactly what it needs to do. It's got personality, it's positive, it's got very clear indicators of like sort of interests and what you're into.
Mhm.
It's something that like if I see this profile, I'm going to be swiping on it, and I think it's one of those profiles that would win me over if I wasn't immediately sure about like the pictures, if that makes sense. If I was like, "Hey, you're kind of cute," this profile would be like, "Absolutely."
For me, I would just like a little bit more about them. I know they have pets. I know they're nice. I know they're an ally. I know they like coffee, but like, just a little bit more about what they like and do. But like, I definitely would give them a chance to find that out because they seem really cool. So that's why it's not a 10 for me.
This is Masha. I'm from Ukraine, living and working in Lithuania for now. Mostly sad, but love playing quests, dancing, masturbate, and eating sweets. Dreaming about dogs, not kids. Want to move to Canada, but super scared of nice people on Earth and 9 hours flight. I'm not fantasizing about perfect life. I just think about waking up somewhere safe. I'm thinking about having a pretty kitchen and a nice black doggo, Nutella in the fridge, coffee always brewing. I could be happy with someone simple and quiet.
This is perplexing.
Now, what I want you to do is strip away what are obviously translation errors.
It's a very adorable profile.
It's adorable and heartbreaking.
It is adorable and heartbreaking. I wish I could get clarification. Like, they're scared of the nicest people on Earth. I don't know what that means.
See, I think that's a joke.
Maybe.
I think she's being like, you guys are so nice, you guys freak me out. So I think
maybe.
that's a joke that like just gets lost in translation. But like, mostly sad, but love playing quests. I'm not sure what quests are. That's the only one where I'm just like, what does that mean? But like dancing, masturbating, eating sweets. Like, I think that's super honest. I think it's funny. I think it's sexy. I think, I think you're just laying it on the table there, kind of bearing your soul a little bit. But then like I don't fantasize about a perfect life. I just want to wake up somewhere safe. I think that punched me in the gut, and I was just like, fuck.
I know it is heartbreaking. I wish I could get the full profile because again, the masturbate thing threw me for a loop. I wasn't really sure what that was. Like, are you just being flat out honest saying you like to masturbate? Because hell yeah, was it a mistranslation too? Was it and like playing Quest? It's like there's so much there. Is it like you're super nerdy? Because damn, that would be incredible. I think it's a nice profile. I think it is a little, as you said, it's heartbreaking. It's very sweet.
Yeah, I'm giving it a 7. I think if there was a better translation and I was cleared up on some of the gray area, I think I would be at an 8. But I'm giving it a 7 right now.
I also don't really know what the point of this is because you're not in Canada yet. I don't know if you'll be in Canada. And it's like, I think there's a lot of pressure inherent in the profile if you're planning to move here. And you know what I mean? Like there's a certain level of like, oh fuck, if you're coming here and you want like a family and all this stuff and you're not even here yet, it's like, I don't want to be the reason you come over here. I don't want to feel that pressure.
She's dreaming about dogs, not kids.
I do love that. I also think that's a great line, actually. And a black doggo, great. The best type of doggos. Yeah, I'll give it a 7 as well, just because it's so heartwarming. This is Olivia, 32, job in clinical psychology. As a child, when my goldfish died, I mourned the entire ocean.
This is, again, one of those profiles where I'm just like, what do you want out of this? Because it's, I don't know. I don't know what the point is. I don't know anything about you. I don't know. I mean, I know you have a kid. Cool. But like, what? I don't know. I'm going to give it a 3 because it's nothing. What?
How do you know they have a kid?
Doesn't it say she has a kid?
No, it says, as a child, when my goldfish died, I mourned the entire ocean.
I thought you said has a child.
No. So like when they were a child and their goldfish died, they mourned the entire ocean. So even less information.
Even less information. I know you were once a child. Yeah, I'm giving this, I'm going to give it a 2. It's not a bad profile in the terms that I normally give 2s.
It's not like offensive, but it is garbage, I think.
Yeah, it's a bad profile, but not a bad profile, you know?
Yeah. You either have no idea what's going on, or you're trying to be deep, or some weird mixture of all of those things. And, all right, this is Jamie, 32. I like to think of myself as a goofy, fun, and empathetic person who enjoys trying new things, embracing my inner child. I'm strongly against mandates, coercion, and medical discrimination. They're a teacher as well, by the way.
Of course they are. Um, it's gotten to the point where like the mandates are done. They've been done
Yeah.
for like 10 months. If this is still part of your profile, still part of your philosophy and your personality, I don't care.
But even
Nobody
like,
cares anymore.
at the time, there were a lot of reasons and still remain reasons for what they did. And it's like, come on. If you're a teacher and you can't get your head around that,
Mm,
I don't know. Also, you're not very empathetic, are you?
yeah.
So
I don't want to wear masks despite the fact that it might save people who are immunocompromised.
Exactly. So, like, Zero.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is WTF about me. Do you really want to be happier? Then start accepting people for who they are, but place them where the fuck they belong. And begin making realistic decisions about where they fit into your life, based on who they keep consistently showing you they are, instead of who you want them to be. The right person will just know, and the two, like, fingers pointing towards each other.
Huh. Look, if this is your philosophy on how to treat people, I don't feel very confident that as a stranger from a dating app, I will be put in a place that I would like to be in.
I just don't know what you're doing. You're coming off very, like, high and mighty and, like, I don't know. It's like, this is all very generic, useful, or useless bullshit. It's like, this is not your discount TED Talk. This is a dating profile. Not a single thing you've said here makes me want to date you.
Yeah, because it sounds like you're like using people, or like you're all about sort of like judging people's worth based on what they can do for you or how you feel about them, which if you don't want to spend time with someone, don't like keep them around, but keep them in like the F tier.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like that to me, I don't know. I don't like categorizing people and I don't like ranking people. And that seems to be the first thing you're starting to talk about. Not a fan. I'm going to give this a 1.
Mm-hmm. It also just sounds like they are surrounded by a bunch of people that are bad, and it's like, you're 33, you should have your shit together to a degree. If you don't have any friends, it's not good for a relationship.
Yeah.
I give it a 2 as well. Fuck it. It's
Well,
not
I
quite.
give it 1.
Oh, I'm giving it a 2. It's not quite. No mandates bad, but it ain't great.
That's going to do it for us today, friends. Thank you very much for listening. Once again, as Niall said, thank you very much for listening and supporting us. We wouldn't be here without you. We certainly wouldn't have won a Canadian Podcast Award without you. We strive to do good. We strive to make the show fun and entertaining and educational. And we do that because of you. And it's the whole reason, like, I don't want to be like, we're winning because we're good or whatever. But it's like, I think we won the award because you guys are worth working for.
Oh, 100%. And like,
Does that make sense?
We do this every week because we love you guys. We still haven't missed an episode, which is fucking insane. But,
Crazy.
we love you guys. And everyone we've interacted with through this podcast has been, with the exception of a few people sending in questions thinking we are some kind of brothel, everyone's been incredible. So we've somehow managed to come in contact with just incredibly lovely people. And I love that. I really do. So yeah, just thanks.
I do want to say a quick shout out to our friends Parkdale Haunt for winning People's Choice. We had our fingers crossed to win People's Choice, but if we didn't win, we wanted you to win, and it was great. We've also got we've got a bunch of friends, 30 going on 13. You guys were so sweet to thank us. Your message meant a lot to us. There's other shows like Positively Positive who are also out here doing the education thing, teaching people, helping people through the means of sexual awareness. Huge shout out. Go check them out as well. We're just very lucky to, one, have the audience and the community that we've built, and then also being a part of the Canadian podcast community as well. It's a surreal experience, and I'm certainly grateful to be a part of it.
Yeah. So thank you again, everybody that support us. We absolutely love you. And thank you, Josh Eagle and the Harvest Cities, for their song, Paper Stars. If you want more episodes, if you want to support us, we have a Patreon. You'll find it on our website. And yeah, just again, really, we've been feeling a lot of emotions this week. We had a really fun little watch party with a few friends, and it was an absolute honor to win. And it's fucking great. So thank you. Ready for some garbage sex writing?
Yeah.
So this is a job posting.
I love these ones.
Soy boys need not apply, all caps. Small local company needs real men to do real work. This is not a sit on your butt job. We are looking for self-starters that get up early and work until the job is complete. Must be familiar with tools, brackets, like a real man. and have some general knowledge about general carpentry, electrical, and plumbing. Real men don't have long hair, don't vape, and don't have cats. Real men do
Whoa.
have steel-toe boots, enjoy hard work, and pursue their goals with limitless vigor. This is not a position where we talk about feelings. We do not whine or cry. If you are a real man, respond to this post with your resume. Job type, full-time, contract.
The wildest thing is this sounds like a construction job,
Mhm.
right? I don't want anyone who's got a loose understanding of electrical
Yeah.
working on my house. You know what? I'm all about faking it till you make it. Except when it comes to the plumbing and construction and electrical wiring of the place that I will be living in.
You know what? Not even just for my sake or my home's sake.
No.
Mainly theirs. Also, like, for real.
Yeah. I like
Also-
the thing that I love about this actually is it's so much is that like they do seem concerned about your safety. You know what I mean? Like wear steel toe boots. You know what I mean?
I don't
So
know.
there's, like-
I don't know.
There's
It's
like,
like,
there's like a real job posting in here, but written by the most insecure man possible.
I just love that he took this moment to somehow get upset about cats when, like, I could understand if, like, vaping maybe upset them on job because maybe they don't understand that vaping is kind of just smoking. Maybe they think it's weed. I don't know. I could understand, like, a boomery misunderstanding of that. I could understand long hair or something because, I don't know, you have to put it in your hard hat. Even it's pretty dumb, but, like, how the fuck does a cat affect your job in any way, shape, or form?
Because real men don't have cats. Real men have
I-
dogs.
It's
Lizards.
the day. It's the day I realized you're not a real man.
Hey, you know what? Considering the track record of men, I'm fine with this.
Yeah.
I will be in a like just sort of
Cat
amorphous. Yeah, I'm happy to be just a cat prism. My name is Dave Miller,
And I'm Niall Spain.
and we have been your award-winning Buck Buddies.